overreact from Legendary Drops. Steam is just the beginning. I have not seen this video. I haven't heard anything about it. I know that there's a lot of issues going on with Steam payment processing with MasterCard, Visa. There's like a weird thing going on there. Let's see what's going on.
That it
Oops.
makes your
Hold on.
ability to access media, whether that's games or whatever else, is now contingent on systems that you can't see, can't vote for, and can't opt out of. You have no control, you have no privacy, and this is all being fueled by elites and activists that believe that they know what's best when it comes to how you live your life.
Oh. Oh. We don't like that. They do. They feel like they do. They think they do. They think they know. But the data is not there to support their fucking theories about like when it comes to developers and publishers, especially the big ones, EA, Ubisoft. They don't know jack shit. They're under all this political pressure to push agendas in their video games that nobody likes. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody. It's not inclusive. It's exclusive. It's fucking stupid. People are tired of being preached to. Like, we just want to play a game. Have representation in the game if it's relevant to the story, and it'll work just fine. Don't place fucking politics before the story you want to tell. And the story you want to tell matters way more. Fuck. Final Fantasy VII is perfect for this. Everybody loves fucking Barrett. Everybody loves fucking Yuffie. Clearly a Japanese girl ninja, which no one has a problem with. Everybody loves Yuffie. What they have a problem with is Assassin's Creed Shadows that put the diversity of characters on screen first before telling a good story. Everybody loves Afro Samurai. No one likes Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's so stupid.
I've never seen something progress so quickly and so suffocatingly when it comes to
Oof.
our rights as consumers and our independence. We have payment processors like Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal pressuring platforms like Steam to remove legal content, knowing all too well how difficult it is to defend the themes of those games, all in a bid to control how you spend your money. And now,
Yo, listen, if it's legal content and you don't want it to be legal content, then make it illegal content. But if it's illegal content, other companies should not be able to dictate what you have on your platform to sell. Like that's a bad legal precedent. I've heard that what they were trying to get down was like really nasty ass shit, and I would agree with them. I don't want that on the platforms available in the first place. But it's not illegal and there's nothing I can do about it, and so I would want the law changed though. You know, you got to do this through a lobby. You got to do it the right way. What you cannot have is a precedent where a company says, we're not going to process your payments because of X game or A game or B game or C game on your platform. That gives them way too much power. That is so fucked. If it doesn't align with their political agenda, for example, they could take down games that gamers want. Including those who like Assassin's Creed. Like, imagine MasterCard is run by extremist, racist, far right, like Nazis, and they're just like, we don't want any black people in. Well, then all the people that like the game, and there are lots of people who like the game. It wasn't enough to make it successful, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who bought the game, liked the game. Now they're saying, we get to control, the MasterCard and Visa companies are saying, we get to control what content you provide and have available for purchase. That's the fucked up part. Ho! Ho! Ho!
at the exact same time, we have the UK passing laws that effectively make it where Europeans just have to hand over all of their identification to third-party companies that we know exactly how well they handle that. Zero security. The US is doing the exact same thing. Xbox is already jumping forward to make changes based on these laws, meaning that all of this is coming to every single shore unless something is done. This goes beyond censorship. This is control. This is that cyberpunk dystopia where you own nothing, know nothing, and are nothing other than tools.
Haven't we been here before? Haven't we seen what this looks like? Oh no, brother. What we're going to do instead of being like reasonable and like we're gonna we're gonna police everything you can do. We're gonna police everything you can think. We're gonna police everything you can see. We're gonna control you. This is some Matrix bullshit, dude. What the fuck are you doing? We can't let that happen. That's some fucked up shit.
Of convenience for corporations and the politicians that they control. While I plan to try to make this discussions revolve around video games, ultimately I'm going to have to step outside of my comfort zone. I'm going to have to talk about media more broadly. I'm going to have to talk about corporate and political interference, and a lot more. So today we're going to talk about the world's war on the internet, on gaming, on freedom of expression, on our independence, and our...
That's the bigger war. There is a sub-war to that, and you guys should definitely check it out. I'm starting a new series. It's going to be called Streamer Wars. And the online battle there's like an online battle of it's all just competition and content, which is how like somebody Asmongold would view it that way, and he doesn't. But there are issues that people care about that he does talk about, that other people talk about, and there is a streamer war going on, and I think we know who's winning. I think we know who's winning. Come August, September, there are big things happening that I've heard. I don't know anything much in the pipeline, but big fucking things. Poor Legendary drops. I feel bad for you, LD. You have to get into a space that is just not comfortable for you, but because you care about games, you've got to start talking about things that you wish you didn't have to care about. I'm the same fucking way. I feel the same fucking way. I do not want to care about this stuff. I just want to play good games. I just want to watch good movies and good content. Like, I want to have fun. I want to enjoy my life, take care of my family, and that's it. But no. We have dumb people making dumb decisions, and we got to wreck it. We got to wreck it. We cannot enjoy our lives. Once you start noticing, once it starts interfering with the things you love and the things you like and the things you do in your daily life, it starts to piss you off. And more people are noticing.
Fight against it. They think that they have the upper hand.
No.
It's time to prove they don't.
We got
Freedom
him.
of expression in media always comes under fire nearly every single year from low-effort, uneducated activists and opportunistic politicians.
Damn. I love this.
Whether it's books, TV shows, music, movies, or games, the world's problems always seem to get pinned on art. And the people that are leading these moral crusades, well, they're never content to make personal choices. They want control. Control over what you can access under the thinly veiled excuse of protecting the children from content that they've never engaged with, don't understand, and absolutely do not respect. Ultimately, it's parents looking for systems to raise their kids rather than themselves. Back in 1985, it was the music
Brother, I have a 7-year-old. Listen, you cannot let systems raise. You got to be an active parent. And the one thing I've learned is, like, she loves drawing, painting, doing puzzles. So the tablet that I got her just has a lot of those little games that they can play, and I do them with her. They're puzzle solving, they're learning games. Technology is not evil, but you don't want the technology to be the thing raising your kid. You don't, like, and you need to have parental controls and all this stuff. But dude, just watching slop content, like on kids' YouTube or something, man, I limit that to like less than, she's 7, so I let her watch TV. I watched TV when I was a kid, but it's like you gotta put a cap on it. I know it's hard for parents that are busy and just want, to be able to have their kids be content and satisfied to play, but you know what? Kids always found ways to do that before. Be a fucking parent.
Drawing our minds as Tipper Gore helped launch the PMRC, a group that insisted that music with explicit lyrics should be segregated and slapped with warning labels. It led to televised Senate hearings where Congress tried to shame musicians into submission. They invited Dee Snider of Twisted Sister to testify, thinking that his image would backfire: long hair, makeup, loud music. Instead, he shredded them. Calm, articulate, and unapologetic, he exposed their hypocrisy and turned the spectacle into a public embarrassment for all of the moral censors. That kind of overreach didn't stop there. In the mid-1990s, Natural Born Killers became the next target, a hyper-violent satire by Oliver Stone about two media-obsessed killers that turned into celebrities. Critics said that it glorified murder, but what it really did was terrify them because it held up a mirror to how violence gets repackaged and sold. The film was linked to some real-world crimes and even dragged into the courts by the victims' families. Despite having no real connection, the lawsuits ended up failing, but the damage was done. It was banned in multiple countries, pulled off the shelves, and became a blueprint for how moral panic can leap from outrage to censorship without even proving any harm. But eventually,
And we proved that statistically over time, the anti, like, oh, that's the devil, that's the Satan, that crowd that wants to just like disrupt and take away things that are just like obviously depicting not good things, but it's part of like what reality has inside of it. Like reality has these things, and there's been no increase in and of these things systemically. Like there are spikes here and down, but if you look at decade by decade by decade, it varies just up and down. There's always a median. It's so dumb.
eventually, that spotlight turned to video games, and once it did, it never left. Mortal Kombat was one of the first to take the heat. Back in 1993, the blood-soaked fatalities ended up triggering a political firestorm, landing it in the center of U.S. Senate hearings alongside Night Trap, and the outrage was so loud, it was enough to be able to force the industry into creating the ESRB, which we still use today, a self-imposed rating board that was meant to keep the government off their backs, and yet still, despite that concession, the attacks kept coming. Doom was next. After Columbine, the media rushed to blame the shooter's love of violent video games, especially Doom, which was treated less like a product and more like a loaded weapon. There was no real evidence, but that really didn't matter because the goal was never about truth. It was about finding a scapegoat. From there, the cycle just repeated. Manhunt was banned in multiple countries for its sadistic tone and stylized executions. Grand Theft Auto became a political punching bag for nearly 2 decades now, and every time a new controversy breaks out, school shootings, violent crime, teenage aggression, someone with a podium and no understanding of the medium wants to start pointing a finger at video games, and they still do to this day. Despite decades of research showing that there is no causal link between video game violence and real-world behavior, we are still hearing the exact same lazy talking points about how games corrupt the youth, desensitize children, or promote criminal behavior. They said it in the 90s, they said it in the early 2000s, and they're still saying it today because it's easier to blame the pixels than confront real issues. Here we are today, and the only thing that's changed is that the time for talk is over, and now it's action. Content isn't just being criticized, it's being erased. Games are vanishing, storefronts are purging titles by the thousands, and it all started with a group called Collective Shout, an advocacy and lobbying organization based in Australia that claims that they are fighting against the sexualization of women and children in media. On the surface, that sounds like a noble goal, but the deeper that you look, the more it becomes clear
Of children, obviously that's a noble goal. If that's really your goal, the desexualization of kids. I'm not about all the puberty blockers and genital surgeries and double mastectomies, a vasectomy. You know, all these disgusting mutilating surgeries for kids as young as 11, 12, 13. That's fucked. That's sick. None of that shit should be happening. Not until they're over 18. They don't have the mental, emotional, physical or social maturity to even understand what it is that any of this means. Nope. Fuck that. I mean, the same goes for smoking, drinking, voting, buying a house. Fucking, like, we have precedent. Duh. But desexualization of women, it's like you're an adult. Women have always voluntarily self-promoted their image in a sexual way. Some, not all, but women do that. There are women that do that and like to do that, and that should be their right. I don't think that I think it's really dumb to be like, oh, holier than thou bullshit. I hate that. I hate that. Like, let them do what they want. Promiscuity is a thing. It's like, what are you gonna do about it? Get off. Get off the high. That's when you immediately know that these are Karens, woke activists that don't really care about children because they're willing to sexualize them anyway in surgeries and puberty blockers. They just don't want them in video games, right? But what they do want is fucking transsexual ideology pushed to children's books in middle school and elementary school. Like, fuck that.
That this isn't about safety, it's about control. Collective Shout isn't a watchdog group. It's a group of Karens imposing their morality on everybody else, often hypocritically, seeing that they defend the Netflix show Cuties. Gross. When Steam ignored their demands to remove offensive content, Collective Shout bypassed them entirely and went straight for the infrastructure. They
defended Cuties? What the fuck? Holy shit, dude. This is not a moral group. Bro, they are lying out their ass. They are a political agenda group. That's fucked.
Flooded Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal with complaints pressuring them to take action, and it worked. Payment processors then turned around and contacted Steam directly, laying out their own content standards and demanding enforcement. In response, Steam quietly added a new line in their developer policy under Rule 15.
Bro, this group is nothing. They're Sweet Baby Inc. They're the same.
You shouldn't publish content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks or internet service providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. That one vague little sentence triggered one of the most aggressive content purges that we have ever seen. Thousands of games disappeared off of Steam and indie storefronts like itch.io within days. And let's be clear, the kind of content that they were targeting here was calculated. This was not mainstream titles. These were fringe, explicit games. The kind of games and the kind of content that is extremely difficult to defend publicly without being accused of endorsing it. That is the point. They thought that this content wouldn't spark any mass outrage if it disappeared. They picked a fight where the user base was too small, too niche, and too easy to silence because at the end, you shouldn't be able to be allowed to engage with. These same activists and their political allies have taken aim at games like Grand Theft Auto and Detroit Becomes Human. If you guys think for whatever reason that this stops with H games and edgy horror titles, you haven't been paying attention. The strategy is simple here. Make the bans palatable at first and then push the line later. And once people get used to it, well, the next ban isn't even going to feel like censorship anymore. In fact, that point's already been proven because one of the games that got caught up in the purge on itch.io was Mouthwashing, a frontrunner for 2024 Indie Game of the Year, a psychological horror title that was intentionally disturbing that explores...
Hold up. The Neversoft Eye. Ha! Oh, dude, it's the Neversoft Eye. I fucking love it. Oh, my God. The Neversoft Eye is an iconic gaming logo that came from, man, they had that shit in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Everybody was like, what the fuck? Dude, that is that the Neversoft Eye? I don't even know. I can't tell. Oh my God, it looks like it though. Holy shit.
2024 Indie Game of the Year, a psychological horror title that was intentionally disturbing, that explores trauma, guilt, grief, and violence, but it never really showed any of those things directly. No interactive assault, no graphic reenactments, not the way that we would normally see them in other games, just surreal imagery and a heavy atmosphere that was built around information, and yet still it was pulled. Not because it broke any laws, not because it violated any terms of service, but because payment processors had cast a net so wide that even hinting at dark themes is enough to get games erased if someone else decides that it makes them uncomfortable. This is what happens when you hand over control to systems that do not care about context. These are financial institutions, not curators of art. They don't care about game reviews. They don't understand narrative nuance. They just react to pressure, to PR risk, to liability. And when they act, platforms fall in line because they don't have a choice. This is censorship by infrastructure. No appeals, no discussions, just silence and removal. That's what makes this so different from the censorship battles of the past. It's not a debate. It's not a public outcry. It's not a policy that you can push back on, because by the time anybody notices, the decision's already been made quietly behind the curtain. It's not just about what gets removed. It's about who gets to decide and how invisible that process has become. There's no transparency, no vote, no warning, just a new rule, a new standard, and a growing silence where certain games used to be. And that's the trap, because these systems, once they fix the problem that they found, they escalate, they standardize, they start rewriting the rules behind the scenes and pretend like nothing has changed when everything has. The rules that you're governed by now aren't public, they aren't consistent, they're enforced by companies that you'll never speak to using guidelines that you'll never read. Your access is now contingent on a constantly shifting set of expectations dictated by people that aren't even a part of the culture that they're regulating. So let's stop pretending like this is about one game or one advocacy group or one rule or even...
Bro. He is cooking the shit out of these guys. Oh, LD. Bro. He is... You are... Give this man a cauldron. He is cooking the shit out of these stupid pieces of shit. Oh, man. Oh. Oh, damn. Yo, I'm going to have to turn this into 2 parts. Oh. Whew. My man. My man. LD. I'm going to turn it into 2 parts, guys. We'll see you on part 2 of Steam is just the beginning from Legendary Drops. Definitely give him a like and